In this video, you will learn how to delete files and folders using Python, something every developer needs when cleaning up temporary data, logs, or old files. And we'll use the built-in OS module for this task. So first, we have to import the OS module. This module lets you to interact with the operating system, including file and folder operations. Now, if I show you the files in our project folder, means the my project folder, you will see that we have some text files, for example multiline.txt, new file.txt, notes.txt. so there are many text files, so we will delete one of them. So before deleting, we want to check if that files exists or not, because if we don't check and Python tries to delete a file which does not exist, it will throw error. So for that, first we are gonna check if os.path.exists, and we want to check if notes.txt exists or not. Okay, now you can give here path instead of file name. We are giving the file name because this delete file and this notes.txt file both are in the same folder. But if both are not in the same folder, you can give the path of that file. We discussed about paths in our previous two videos, so you can check out them. After checking if notes.txt exists or not, so if it is yes, means if it exists, then we tell that os.remove, and we just want to remove notes.txt. okay, and we just want to remove notes.txt. okay, and after removing, we just tell that notes file deleted. And if the notes file does not exist, we go inside the else block and write the print statement, and there we say notes file does not exist. So behind the scenes, this line checks if notes.txt exists or not. If exists, this line executes and the file gets removed. Otherwise, it just prints file does not exist. So if I run the code, you'll see notes.txt file got removed. Now let's remove this test.txt file. So here I'm gonna write test.txt, and here also test.txt. As you can see, this test.txt file here. Now look closely. When I click on this run button, the file will get disappeared. So run, as you can see, the file got disappeared, means it got deleted. If you check here, you'll see that the file does not exist anymore. Okay, now again, if you try to remove that file, that is not available anymore. So if you try to run this, you'll see notes file does not exist. But if you don't check this, means if you comment this out, just remove the indentation here. Now if you try to run the file, you'll see it throws file not found error. So this is the necessary why we use this checking. Okay, if you run the code, it says notes file does not exist. Basically it would be test file. It doesn't matter actually. So test, because the file we want to work with is the test file, and the code says test file does not exist. Now we saw how we can delete files. Now what if you want to delete a folder? So here we are in the my project folder, and let's create another folder inside this my project folder. So new directory, and we are gonna call this note folder. Okay, now this folder got created, and keep in mind that this folder is empty. So let's see how we can delete an empty folder. So first we check if that folder exists or not. So we write here the folder name. So the folder name was note folder. Okay, note folder. And if that note folder exists, then we want to remove that note folder. And after removing the note folder, we want to notify the user that folder deleted. And if that folder does not exist, we want to tell the user that folder does not exist. Now if I run the code, you will see that this note folder gets immediately deleted. So look closely here. I click on the run button it says permission error. So why is that? Oh, because we are using the remove method. Here the method would be os.remove directory. Okay, so now look closely. We have this node folder. Keep in mind that this is an empty folder. That's why this method will work. So whenever I click on the run button, the node folder will get disappeared. As you can see, the node folder got disappeared, means the folder got deleted, and you can see the message folder deleted. Now if you try to run the code again, it will show folder does not exist because we have already deleted that folder. Okay, now we have another folder which is test folder, and inside that folder we have another folder, and let's see if we can delete this test folder with this method. Instead of node folder, we want to check if test folder exists or not. If that exists, we want to delete the test folder. Okay, now we want to delete test folder which holds some other folders. So if I run the code, you'll see it prints os error directory not empty. Means by this procedure we can't delete a folder which holds some file or folder. So we have to follow another method, and that is using the util module. So instead of this, what we can do is we can just write that import util. Okay, and we can tell Python that util.remove means remove tree, means rm3. Okay, and we just give the folder, and in this case that is test folder. Okay, now when I run the code, you will see that test folder and another folder both gets disappeared. So look closely here. I click on the run button. As you can see, both folder got deleted. So how cool is that? Now I hope you understood the basic things, but let me show you cool tricks. You will find that interesting as a beginner, I think. So here, let's say we have a variable called file underscore name, and there the file name is newfile.txt. Means we are targeting this file, newfile.txt. Okay, now we have to import the os module. So import os. Okay, and let's check if os.path.exists and we give the file name. So if the file exists, then we can have a variable called choice, and there we can call the input method with some string formatting, asking the user delete, and here let's pass file name, and we can ask the user if he wants to delete that file. Then he can type yes or no. Okay, then after user writes yes or no, we can check that. So if choice dot lower means if he writes yes in uppercase letter, we want to make that to lowercase. So after making lowercase, we want to check if that matches yes. So if user typed yes, then we want to remove the file. So os.remove, and we just give the file name or the file path. Okay, after that we can just write print, some string formatting, and here we can say that file name and then just deleted. Okay, and if user does not write yes, means he wrote other thing, no or any other string, so in that case we just can print that operation cancelled. Okay, now we are targeting this file which is newfile.txt. So let's see what happens. So if I run the code, it asks the user delete newfile.txt. If user says no and submits, says operation cancelled. If I run the code, it will again ask if he writes something gibberish and submits. As you can see, operation cancelled. If I run this code again, it will again ask if he wants to delete the file. If the user writes yes and submits, you will see that newfile.txt will get removed. So as I hit enter, as you can see, the file got deleted. So cool, right? So I hope you understood and enjoyed this video. So if you enjoyed, you can hit the like button or subscribe to the channel and recommend the channel to your friends. So that's all for now. See you in the next one.